everybody, welcome to the Dave's World YouTube channel, your home for automotive mechanical entertainment. Those of you who have been following along since day one know I've been tinkering with this Cruze for the last year, and I've been making some really fun videos on how to modify the car and make it better. In this video series, you're going to see that I tuned the car, the transformation it made basically on a stock engine. I'm adding an HPRV valve, which is basically, the nickname of it is blow-off valve for this car. I'm adding a different spring into my Mamba Tech wastegate, which is going to increase the boost on the car. If you want to see the Mamba wastegate install, I actually have another video that you can check out. I'll put a link in the description for you. After tuning the car, I realized that the car is not producing as much boost as it could. Was it better than before? Yes. Can it be better? Yes. So this video series is going to document everything I'm doing to the car. What I'm doing today is the HPRV valve. Let me show you what I got. So this is a Bad News Racing HPRV valve. It's called the High Performance Recirculating Valve. What this is going to do is give the car that blow-off swoosh noise that everyone's looking for. It seems that it's down here underneath the intake. So what I'm going to do is show you guys how I take this all apart, put that in, hopefully get some more power out of the car with it. I'm also going to be doing in the next video the Mamba wastegate upgrade and the transmission short throw shifter down here. So what I'm going to do now is let me set you guys up so we can start working on this. But before I play this video for everyone, don't forget to turn on your notifications so you can see some future updates on my channel whenever I post them. Thank you again, everybody. Hopefully you enjoy. Do not lose this little clip. Ah, there we go. So if you look right here, you push this. Once you get that little tab out of the way. Although I'm going to put this little tab back in so I don't lose it. Okay, so right here is the OEM bypass valve. This is what we need to remove. There's one bolt here, and one bolt underneath. Right down here is where your HPRV goes. One of the bolts right here are behind this. Okay, what I'm trying to do is, if you get Allen wrenches like this, these are a wobble head and you can actually sneak past stuff on an angle. Hopefully this will work on that one Allen. Yep. Should be able to use this wrench for leverage. I think it broke loose. Yeah, good. While you're doing this, make sure you do not drop any of the bolts, because they can go into somewhere that can cause more damage on your car. Maybe I can get it with this again. Yeah, okay. I did leave one bolt in to kind of hold this thing. I tell you, every time I work on a turbo car, everything has to be by feel. If you guys have been watching my Jetta series, you'll see the stress I've been going through with that car. Luckily, that one's finished. Okay, valve is out. Okay, we need to now remove this piston assembly. Try to get it just to rotate. Oh, popped right out. I was reading in the instructions to not lose this O-ring or this spring. So if you look right here, there's a notch. That same notch is on this valve. Okay, now the next step is put everything back in. This comes with longer bolts too, which is awesome. So far this seems to be a pretty straightforward install. The hardest part of this is getting the camera in a spot you guys could see. If I weren't doing that, I'd probably be done already, to be honest with you. So you just want to line everything up. There's a notch. And then you want to grab your I'm just gonna put this mounting bolt back in like I did before. I let this one hold everything. So here's the bolt that came off of the HPRV valve, or the original recirculation valve. Obviously it's made of some sort of steel. The bolts that came with the kit don't stick. I think these are stainless and these are regular steel. So when you're using these, don't think if you drop one, they can just get it with your magnet. This became a big headache. Okay, so since these bolts are not magnetic, what I would do is put the bolt on the Allen wrench and put some tape around the bolt and the Allen wrench. That way you can get it to where it needs to be, thread it in, and then pull the tape and you'll be able to pull this out. Okay, once I feel it thread in, I'm going to grab the tape and the Allen, and the bolt will stay. The other thing I did was I kept my rubber gloves off so I can feel better. I don't want to risk dropping the bolt again. Okay. Okay, I just got finished putting in the high performance recirculation valve. What I'm gonna do is start the car, rev the engine. I wanna see what kind of sound the car makes now. There's another video I showed where you guys can do a cheap modification to have basically a free cold air intake to the car. I'm gonna put a link to that. So what you can basically do is modify the airbox. It's another video I put out. If you have that in, it makes the car a lot louder, but for right now I want to test the car. Let's see what it sounds like with the stock airbox. I wanted to do it with the stock airbox to see what happens with the stock airbox, and then maybe later I'll swap it out and see what it's like with the cold air intake version. Okay everybody, I just wanted to pause this video right here and explain something. I filmed this video about 2 months ago, and since then I spoke to Jerry, the owner of Bad News Racing. I purchased this valve specifically for noise. I wanted it to basically make the swoosh blow off sound. It does do that as long as you're running a cold air intake. What you're going to witness is what happens if you're not running a cold air intake. I also purchased it because I wanted to hear that noise without making modifications to the car other than putting that valve in. But that valve, if you purchase it for performance reasons, is what it's for. It's designed to release air and also keep air in the turbo when needed, because the factory one's kind of flimsy and over time it goes bad. This was an upgrade to the factory one. What you're also going to witness is a boost loss during the video. The boost loss was actually because of the wastegate actuator, not the HPRV. So please don't get mad at Bad News Racing thinking that it's the valve. It was actually my wastegate actuator. So now I'll continue on showing you how I tested this valve with road tests and ways to make it louder. Thanks again, everybody. Okay, so the video Bad News Racing has online was with this valve installed with the airbox still in. I bought this so I can have the airbox still installed. I didn't want to run a cold air intake or the modified intake, but if you guys want to learn how to do this, I have another video. I'll put an info card up here and a link in the description to get to that video on how to modify the car for this. But what I want to do is let's test now what this HPRV valve sounds like with the intake modified. It's definitely louder with the intake box modified. I was really hoping to hear it much louder with the box closed, sort of like an atmospheric blow-off valve, but I know you can't do that on this engine, which is why Bad News Racing told me this is what I needed. I don't really see a performance difference running this, and honestly without it, you still hear the recirculating valve open and close. It's just a little bit quieter, but if you're going to modify the intake anyway or run a cold air intake, I don't see a reason to need this, other than maybe if yours is no good or sluggish. I'm noticing actually a loss of boost. Okay everybody, so I cut the road test short on this car because I was a little frustrated with what the car was doing. I think potentially I have a faulty HPRV, and I'm waiting for the tuner to get back to me as to how we can make this thing louder or potentially function correctly. The car is not giving me any overboost codes, underboost codes, or recirculation valve codes. So luckily the engine and everything seems to be running fine. I noticed a little bit of a boost loss, which potentially could be that maybe the air box is open now. What I'm going to do is close the air box. In the next video, I'm going to do the transmission and the spring for the wastegate actuator, and hopefully I'll get the boost back and the car will produce more power and the blow-off valve sound will be what they said it should. So I'm waiting for them to get back to me. Unfortunately, I buy a lot of parts for a lot of different cars, and every time I have an issue, the first thing a company does is pretty much blame the car. So I have to go through the process of, let's make sure the car is the way it needs to be, and then yes, the part might be faulty, or maybe it's fine and maybe there is something wrong with the car. I don't know. But I appreciate you guys checking this video out. Thank you. Hopefully you enjoy this series, and I can definitely tell you that even though I'm a little stressed out in this video, I'm still excited to do this work to the car. That's why I went and spent $1,200 on all this stuff, because I was very excited after the tune, but I really want to get all these other add-ons to work. I want them to work properly, and hopefully the tuner can get back to me and point me in the right direction. So I'm taking you guys down that path with me. Have a nice day, everybody. I appreciate all the support. I appreciate you checking the video out, and have a very nice day.